is Benjamin Okezie Kalu, representing the good people of Bende Federal Constituency. I am from Abia State. Arise.
From the hallowed chambers, his voice resonates crystal clear.
You say you shared money recently, and I represent the constituency, and there are 360 of us, and all of them are saying we are not feeling the impact.
He's the unmistaken voice of Undi Bende and the image maker of the House of Representatives.
Swept away houses and roads in communities like Mpa, Unimenyi, Uzita, and Bende. Mr. Speaker,
he's a committed, courageous, articulate, and deeply impassioned lawmaker with the plight of his constituents.
Joining me now on the political segment is Honorable Benjamin Kalu, who's the spokesman of the House of Representatives.
Ben Kalu's mandate gives you first-hand information on the activities of the member representing the good people of Bende Federal Constituency at the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, as well as his position on national issues. Ben Kalu's mandate airs on Flow 94.9 FM, Vision Africa 104.1 FM, and Real 99.1 FM every Tuesday by 10:30 a.m. Ben Kalu's mandate, gains of quality representation. Yes, it is the second edition of the program for the month of August. It is the weekly engagement of Representative Benjamin Kalu with the good people of Abia State, especially Bende Federal Constituency, and we call it Ben Kalu's mandate. Ben Kalu's mandate is on Flow 94.9 FM, both on the terrestrial platforms and online platforms, and also on Vision Africa 104.1 FM, Umuahia Real 99.1 FM, Aba Family Love 99.9 FM, Umuahia, and ABN Online Radio and TV. Bridging the gap between the parliament and the people is Ben Kalu's mandate. You're welcome. My name is Michael Oni. Our regular guests, Representative Benjamin Okezie Kalu, an astute lawyer, a businessman par excellence, a member of the House of Representatives, of a young and vibrant politician, currently the member representing Bende Federal Constituency at the House of Representatives, occupying the seat of the chairman, House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, and doubling as the spokesperson of the House of Representatives, is joining us virtually at this hour. Glad to have you join us, Representative Benjamin Okezie Kalu. Welcome to another edition of Ben Kalu's Mandate.
Thank you, Mike, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here once again. And thank you for tuning in. And my constituents from Bende, always a pleasure to be here. It promises to be a very interactive section once again today. God bless all of you, and keep praying for those in government. Pray for our leaders. Pray for this land that we are all occupying. The Bible says, in the peace of this land, we shall have peace. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, thank you. Let's begin with the electoral system. Of course, the voting system in Nigeria, which is the set of rules that determine how elections are conducted. Representative, we would like to know, we would like you to bring us up to speed on the bill for an act to repeal the Electoral Act, which was passed by the House before the recess. We have so much focused our attention on the controversial clauses like that of Section 52, subsection 2, forgetting other clauses and the gains that might have followed the passage. In clear terms, we would like to know the benefit of the Electoral Act today, and when is the bill likely to get the President's assent?
Wow, Michael, that's a lot of questions all put together in one. The Section 52, when is the bill going to be transmitted to the President? What are the benefits of the Electoral Act, irrespective of the controversial 52.3? Well, let's start, from what this particular bill stands for. A lot of people have been asking why Electoral Act repeal and amendment at this point. It is so important. Yes, it is, because over the years we've observed gaps in our electoral legal framework, and as you know that the 2023 is fast approaching, it is only important that government listens to the yearning of the citizens who want these gaps to be bridged. And so the target of this bill is to look at the use of technological devices like the card reader, and also what do we have in place now with regards to substituting candidates, disclosure of the source of fund for political parties during the election, replacement of laws and destroy permanent voters card, punishment for the possession of fake voters card. How do we conduct primaries? As long as we are concerned, we know primaries determine the leaders that will finally emerge in the country. So it becomes very important that the law provides for that. As well as it's important to know that some of the issues that have been raised by Nigerians through the memoranda they submitted occupied about 300 clauses in this particular bill that we just worked on. And it is our intention to ensure that from what the 8th Assembly did on this bill, we are not throwing away some of their contribution. Rather, we are having a continuation, from where they stop to where Nigerians need us to be. So that is the target of this bill, the Electoral Act. The other question is, yes, 52-2 and 52-3 for the Senate, 52-2 for the House of Rep has been controversial. Controversial in the sense that there's a little bit of a divergent interpretation on how we viewed it as a House of Representatives and how the Senate looked at it. On our side, we left 52-2 as it got to us, and which means leaving the discretion to the Independent Electoral Commission, who is the unbiased umpire, to decide on how to manage their operations. If they intend to use, if they find electronic transmission suitable for the delivery of credible results, credible election, so be it. If they opt for manual, so be it. We left it at the discretion, and that was what Nigerians proposed. But from the part of the Senate, there's a little bit of a difference because of a precondition that have been put in place where the National Assembly has a role to play, as well as the
NCC.
NCC. Yeah, so, but how are we going to resolve that? We have what we call the conference committee. The conference committee will always look at the areas that we need to cross the T's and dot the I's. When we sit together with the Senate, because we run a bicameral system of legislature, we will sit together and harmonize what will now go to Mr. President. As per when it will get to Mr. President, let me suspend that question and let's look at the benefits of this particular bill.
Okay.
I don't know if we have enough time, but I really want to educate a lot of Nigerians about what we have done and why they should be happy that we're able to consider some of these issues. One of them, you will find out that over the years, the financial independence or freedom of Inec has not been as it ought to be. Reason being that they depend on the executives for the release of their funds. Sometimes it comes late. Delayed funding has caused a whole lot of problem in the management of the logistics, and which has also led to postponement of elections in the past. If you take, for example, in 2019, out of about 884 billion naira that was approved for INEC, only 143 billion was released. And this was released 86 days to the election.
Okay.
And that means 76% was released 86 days to the election. And I'm talking about 22nd of November of that year. And leaving another 24% that was not released. And this 24% was only released 11. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Michael?
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes,
hello,
I can.
Michael?
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, Michael, I can hear you now.
All right. Yes, you're giving us an update on the financial independence of Inec, or one of the benefits of the electoral bill has passed.
That you can find in clause 3. That you can find in clause 3 of this bill, because they are not yet sections. And as I was saying, 24% was only released on the 21st of December 2018, and that was about 57 days to election. And you agree with me that it will cost Inec a lot of pain in putting their logistics together. Now, if you go to also clause 8, you will see that we have also tried to put in a provision there that says if you want to be Inec official, you should be non-partisan. We don't want you to belong to any political philosophy, because our Inec is meant to be, neutral, need to be impartial in election management, and this is going to help us achieve that. So if you want to work for Inec, you leave the party. If you want to work for party, you leave Inec. So, and if you refuse to declare that you belong to any member of party and you have association with any member of party, you are exposing yourself to a penalty of 5 years imprisonment, as well, or 5 million naira fine. It's important that people know this, because oftentimes a political party will try to employ the members and put them in Inec. If we are able to trace that you belong, or your employment was influenced by a political party into there, we are going to maintain, a course of action that will lead into 5 years imprisonment or 5 million naira. If you go to clause 9, you will see we have introduced what they call the National Register of Voters. This National Register of Voters, you have it now in manual and also in electronic fashion. And the purpose of that is to increase transparency. And the beauty of it also, if you go to sub 1 of that particular clause, it captures the disability is disaggregation for better election planning. They captured those who are not able to walk, and those are not able to maybe see, to be part of this national register, so that when you do voters education and all the rest of them and logistics planning, you put them into focus, and it will also help Inec to maintain a database for easy planning, and as well as for political parties who want to also plan for easy planning. So that is the beauty of that. But the concern of people has been, yes, database is going to be increased. Yes, electronic registrar is going to be there. But what happened to data privacy rights? The data privacy right of people has been an issue, and that we're always suggesting to Inec in executing this particular clause 9, you should be careful to make sure that this particular right is protected. Now, you also go, if you go to clause 15 of the Electoral Act, you will find out that Inec has power now to print and issue a register of voters. As a politician that I am, if I want to plan my campaign, I could approach Inec and say, please, give me, let me know from the register the spread of my constituents, where I can target more. It will help me know how many women, how many men, how many youths, so that I'll be able to know how to plan my marketing tools to be able to reach them better. If you go to clause 18, you will see replacement of voters card. No one should be defranchised because of loss of voters card. And that we've been able to put this in place where if you pay a fee, you are entitled to get that voters register that I just mentioned. Okay. And having that's something I missed on clause 15. If having that clause 15 in place, there's another issue it contributes to our electoral system, and that is transparency. It helps it helps the party to know how many number do we have before going to this election, so that people will not manipulate numbers. And then, you know,
now that INEC has the power to print the number of registered voters and the and their demographic.
In addition to clause 19 talks about display of these copies of voters list, you know, and what it helps us to do is for one to know the errors. You know, if you publish my name wrongly, I'll pick it up from the publication, from the publication made by INEC, and then ask INEC to be able to address that error ahead of election. So that we have captured in clause 19. And then election-based election, nobody is now allowed to select the day of election for INEC. Clause 25 gives, in line with the provisions of the Constitution, gives INEC the right to set the date and the time for each of the election. And it should be not earlier than 150 days and not later than 30 days before the expiration of the incumbent office holder. On 26, you will see the power have been given to INEC to be able to postpone the election on emergency ground, which means they can suspend an election if they face disruptions at the polling units. You know, sometimes people will get to the polling units and make a lot of trouble. INEC has a right now to come and say, okay, because you have disrupted this election for your polling unit, we are cancelling the election. That we have captured in that clause 26. And it helps to protect lives. Who want to go for election, they will know that everywhere will be safe. If you feel you are popular, don't make trouble at the polling unit because it might be cancelled. But there's a very important clause, which is clause 28, which has to do with the oath of neutrality. Okay. Oath of neutrality will be taken by security personnel, will be taken by every worker of INEC. What it means is that you are going to take the oath saying that I'm going to be neutral. I will not side anybody because the principle
as an election officer, according to what you're saying, you have to take an oath of neutrality.
Yes, and as an election officer, also as a security personnel attached to conduct that election. It's no longer going to be all commerce affairs. So now you have to take an oath of office. And also, there's another one in clause 31 that has to do with submission of a list of candidates by political parties. It's a positive development because now you have 120 days, to submit your candidate list. And what that does is that it helps the INEC to plan names who are going to come up on the ballot paper and all the printing material that will be done. And also, clause 33 has to do with political party changing candidates. You know, you don't just change anyhow now. You give opportunity to political parties to conduct fresh primaries and to nominate their candidates so that nobody will be defranchised by virtue of that. And you know, not too long ago, we had an issue in Kogi State where the death of a candidate confused a lot of people on how do we, fill that gap. And clause 36 of the Electoral Act has addressed that, which was a major gap in our electoral law. It has now offered opportunity for fresh primaries to select a replacement within a definite 21 days of the death of the person who was given that mandate before that. You know, you know that there is another level of transparency that has been introduced in the electoral system by this act, this bill that we have passed. It's found in 38.3, clause 38.3. It has to do with granting polling agents access to election materials to enhance transparency, of the process. It allows video recording, it allows photographing, and what it does to the citizens, that it strengthens what we call citizens' oversight on the process. So the oversight function of the citizens.
Just a moment, Representative Benjamin, let me take you on that. Granting polling agents usage of telephone to record. You know, we've had issues on this particular clause that you're raising in the past, where security operatives at the polling unit do harass citizens and say you cannot take phone close to the polling units. So in clear terms, just for emphasis sake, I want you to talk about this very well, especially what you mean by polling agents. Is it about the voters now, or those agents appointed by the political parties?
Yes, I agree with you. This has been an issue, and but now, if any security officer asks you to go away with your phone camera or your video camera, you quote clause that, but then it becomes section 38.3 of the Electoral Act. Section 38.3 allows the polling agents access to election material, and they can video it, they can take photograph of it. You know, it's for credibility, and it is also for transparency. So it is now allowed. That is one of the beautiful values that have been added by the Electoral Act. And if you go to clause 41, clause 41 has to do with the establishment of polling units. It brought clarity to the constitutional powers of Inec to create polling units. You know, most times people ask, when are we getting more political wards? When are we getting more local government? To get a local government, you must have a certain number of political ward. To get political ward, you must have a certain number of polling unit. Now, like Bende that I represent, you know, Bende is so big, has not been divided since 1976, and it's supposed to be about 3 to 4 local governments in one, but because it has not been split, we are being underdeveloped. That's the truth. The share that's supposed to come to Bende local government, it's supposed to be 4 shares, but we are getting 1. But in order for us to achieve this, we have to make effort in pushing to get more polling units. And we are happy that this has been captured by this particular clause 41, that INEC, in consideration of the number of registered voters, you know, domicile in a particular geographical location, could create a polling unit. From polling units, we are going to be able to get wards. And there is another one that is also included to increase transparency, and it is in clause 44. It has to do with inspection of ballot paper formats. And political parties are invited now, not later than 20 days to election, to come and inspect, you know, the ballot paper. The reason for doing that is that there have been a lot of complaint. There have been a lot of complaint that says we have been unlawfully excluded. They call it complaints of unlawful exclusion from the ballot paper. Somebody will say, I'm supposed to be on the ballot paper, I'm not on the ballot paper. So you have 20 days to inspect the ballot paper. So if there's any correction to be made,
which
so this has been captured by
legal battle, post-election legal battle. Interesting. So it means if this finally scales through the assent by Mr. President, political parties can now check the ballot papers, of course, before the election.
Yes.
So, interesting.
20 days. I have one more because of time. Just one more, and then next time we can take it up. And that has to do with clause 45. The beauty of clause 45 is it created platform for better documentation of polling agents. You know, before now, people would just go on the street, pick up a tag and put on their neck and say we are polling agents of party AYZ, even if the party is not on that particular election. And these people, some of them are thugs. You have thugs wearing tags and coming to the polling unit. So clause 45 says no more tags for thugs. Because what they do is they come there as thugs and they cause a lot of trouble at the polling unit. But with this documentation, which means that every polling agent must go and put his passport photograph or her passport photograph and do signing of relevant papers nominated by your party. So by the time you are coming to that particular polling unit, your information will already be there with the presiding officer of that polling unit. So if your information is not there, he will quote section 45, which is currently clause 45, and excuse you from that polling unit. This is to avoid thugs nearing the polling unit. I'm sure I've spoken about 52, which has to do with discretion on the electronic transmission.
Fantastic benefits.
I'll stop there for now.
Yes, because of our time. Fantastic benefits, especially Nigerians. We've so focused on the Section 52, subsection 2 for the House of Reps. That very controversial clause. Let's look at. I want to take you back to the financial independence of Inec. Very important. Can we do a bit of comparative analysis this morning? What we had in the past, talking about the financial independence of the electoral umpire, and the one passed by the House of Representatives. What will we will finally have if this scales through assent by Mr. President?
Yeah, the provision of 3 is saying funds should be released about 60 days or thereabouts. 60
days.
You know, it's about no, not 60 days. Funds should be released about I think 4 months or thereabouts. I'm not with my Electoral Act now, but it is better than what was there before.
What was there before?
Way ahead of time than what was there before. So the late release that have been experienced by past election is not going to be there at all. It won't be a few days to the election you start releasing funds. No. It is way ahead of that. I think before we finish this program, I'll consult my Electoral Act and then I'll clear you on that.
All right.
The exact number of days.
Okay, beyond this, Nigerians are waiting for the harmonization of this bill by both chambers of the National Assembly, because that's where we will have something, a uniform bill passed by the National Assembly before it's been pushed for President assent. How soon are we going to get the harmonization of this bill? Is it going to be immediately after the recess? And will it be made public? I mean, the harmonization process, will it be public? Are the press invited during this? These are some of the things I believe Nigerians will want to know. Also, Abians will want to know.
Yes, thank you very much. I actually missed that question when I was answering it before. Like I mentioned, the whole 9 yards of making laws involves the harmonization point during the conference committee. Currently, we are on vacation. Many people have asked the question if we are going to be recalled to look at this to expedite the process. The leadership, they are considering that. Just like some of us are being recalled to look at the strike that is going on now with the
resident doctors,
the medical doctors, resident doctors. So we are looking at considering that as well before we resume. But if we don't, definitely upon resumption, which is going to be about the 15th of next month, which is approximately 1 month, it will be considered.
Okay. And the area of making it public, the harmonization process, so that Nigerians will have an idea of what went on during the process of harmonization, if it followed due process, because Nigerians want to know, especially the controversial clause 52, subsection 2 or 3, as it matters with the 2 chambers.
Yeah, of course, it's going to be made public. The activities of the parliament, they are not done in the secret. They're going to be made public, but the public are not invited. You know that they are meeting, but it's not a public hearing.
Okay.
It's a technical session that will involve the technical committee, the subcommittee of that committee in the Senate, and the technical subcommittee of that committee in the House of Rep will sit to be able to look at how best to cross the T's and dot the I's. Now, let me answer you on what you asked me about the exact number of time.
Okay.
For the release of the fund. You'll find that in clause 3, sub 2, paragraph A. And it says, such sums and payment available to the Commission for carrying out its function under the Constitution and this Act, provided that the funds for general election shall be released to the Commission not later than 180 days to the date appointed for the election. So it's 180 days.
Okay.
You know, so
180.
I meant 6 months.
Okay, which will give an ample time.
Not 60 days. I wanted to say 6 months. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's like half a year. It's like half a year for
Inec to have access to their phone, and it will be easier for them to train their workers. It will be easier for them to plan their logistics, and it will even be easier for them to also get the cost more reduced, because they will bargain better. It is more cost effective if they start early to engage some of their contractors. But if they start late, they'll have to pay for the speed to cover up for the lost time. So it's a welcome addition to our Electoral Act.
All right. Thank you very much, Representative Benjamin Kalu. We take a break now. When we return, we'll talk about some other issues. He's been able to explain better, especially on the benefits of the electoral repeal, of course, that was passed by the House of Representatives, and some other benefits that Nigerians will get if this finally passes through the president's table, of course, assent by Mr. President. We take a break now. When we return, Ben Kalu's mandate continues on this radio station. Stay tuned.
Is Benjamin Kalu, representing the good people of Bende Federal Constituency. I am from Abia State. Arise.
From the hallowed chambers, his voice resonates crystal clear.
You say you shared money recently, and I represent the constituency, and there are 360 of us, and all of them are saying we are not feeling the impact.
He's the unmistaken voice of Undi Bende and the image maker of the House of Representatives.
Swept away houses and roads in communities like Mpa, Umimenyi, Uzita, and Bende. Mr. Speaker,
he's a committed, courageous, articulate, and deeply impassioned lawmaker with the plight of his constituents.
Joining me now on the political segment is Honorable Benjamin Kalu, who's the spokesman of the House of Representatives.
Ben Kalu's mandate gives you first-hand information on the activities of the member representing the good people of Bende Federal Constituency at the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, as well as his position on national issues. Ben Kalu's mandate airs on Flow 94.9 FM, Vision Africa 104.1 FM, and Real 99.1 FM every Tuesday by 10:30 a.m. Ben Kalu's mandate, gains of quality representation.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. It is, and stay tuned also. It is still Ben Kalu's mandate, the second edition for the month of August, and we've been speaking with Representative Benjamin Kalu, the lawmaker representing Bende Federal Constituency at the National Assembly. That's the House of Representatives. Now let's continue the conversation on this program at this hour. Let's look at some other topical issue, especially this back and forth between the federal government and the National Association of Resident Doctors. I'm sure you're not so happy, because the last time the House of Representatives, that was in the month of April, had to come in to wade in into this back and forth between the doctors and the federal government. And now we are back at the spot that we left in the month of April. And I understand there was a meeting between the House Committee on Health yesterday and the resident doctors. Can you tell us what is the House of Representatives doing? Because it looks like the health sector is being crippled if over 16,000 resident doctors are not in the hospitals working.
Yeah, it's a major problem. I'm sure on this program we have discussed this previously. I think around April. And I remember delaying my trip to Australia in April to be able to help in working with my committee, Health Services Committee, to resolve this issue. And unfortunately, like a monster, it's back again. Like a wound that has refused to heal, it is back again. And the House of Rep is not continuing in their vacation while the hospitals are filled with sick people who are unattended to, and medical doctors who are aggrieved. As the people's representative, who have cut short our vacation, I am rushing back to Abuja
as we speak in the next hour or two. And we have a meeting today. Yes, we had a meeting yesterday. I was not part of that meeting because I was involved with another assignment outside Abuja. And but I had to call that assignment short this morning. We've been asked to return to Abuja to take the second phase of the discussion. It was not finalized yesterday.
Okay.
They will continue today. I will join them. They will continue this morning. I will join them in the middle. I hope we're able to resolve today. But if not, we'll keep discussing this week until we find a common ground again. There's always a space to sit down and discuss. Find out why what we discussed before has not yielded a sustainable, sustainable solution, and what we need to do to ensure that it doesn't happen again. So that is where we are. We are talking about it, and we'll keep talking about it until we bring out a solution.
All right. Hopefully there will be solution very soon. Now let's move on to some other issues. Your constituents, Bende people especially, and of course Abians, would like to know the latest concerning that court case bordering on primary and secondary school certificates against you. What is the latest? Understand the court sat last week, and we would like to get the latest concerning that. You mentioned last week that it doesn't bother you because you have you're the same person according to the names being put to test in the court.
Yeah, journalists and members of this media sector, you like trampling on the rule of court. It's the rule of court that when the matter is before the court, it's contempt of court to start discussing it, especially with parties to that particular seat. I'm a lawyer, and I know if I was sitting at the bench over a matter and it is being discussed the way this one is being discussed, I will feel offended, and I even order those who are discussing it, especially if they are parties, I'll charge them for contempt of court and punish them for that. I had the man who took me to court was busy addressing the press, granting interviews when the matter is before the court. It's contemptuous. It's not allowed in the management of court business for anybody to take it from the court to the court of the public opinion. Well, you will do your job as journalists, but for me, I would not like to discuss this matter.
All right.
I have confidence in the court system, in the judiciary, and let's wait for them. The matters have been tabled before them, and I'm sure at the right time, they have said 23rd, at the right time, they will give their judgment. So let's face other issues. There are more important issues in Nigeria for us to discuss. There are more important issues that affect the people of Abia State, the more important issues that affect the people of Bende. Let's stick to that. They did not give me mandate to be discussing court issues. They gave me mandate to represent them at the federal level, to be their ears and their eyes and their mouths, to speak of their needs and to get solutions for them. Like the governor of Abia State once said, I don't only represent Bende, I represent Abia. And as though that the federal have said, I don't only represent Abia, I represent the whole federal government. And you know the way I introduced myself in the parliament? I said, I am Benjamin Kalu. I represent the people of Nigeria, starting from Bende Federal Constituency. So let's talk about Nigeria. Let's talk about Abia State. Let's leave the courts to do their own job.
Okay, then let's move on. Talk about your activities. Sometimes last week, was it last week or thereabout? You were in Anambra State to flag off this National Health Insurance Scheme Community Initiative, representing the Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives and the Chairman of the House Committee on Health. What was this about, and hopefully, we're hoping that you will bring such initiative home for the good people of Bende Federal Constituency, your immediate constituent that you're representing.
Yeah, Mike. When you are being called or appointed to represent an institution, it means you're a good representative of that institution. You're a good ambassador of that institution. If the president is not sending me to represent him, the speaker is sending me, or the chairman of committees they are sending. It means that whatever you're doing it well, and that is a credit to the people of Bende. It's a credit to the people of Abia for giving me this opportunity, and I'm very humbled that this opportunity has been given to me, and a lot of people are celebrating the people of Bende for taking this decision. Yes, I was in Anambra State, and to be precise, Ojoto,
okay,
and Obosi. And I went to flag off this National Health Insurance Scheme project for that state. It was an honor from the Minister of Health, from the Speaker, from the Chairman of the committee for finding me worthy enough to go and flag off that major project. And you ask a question, when are we bringing it to our people? We've already brought it to our people. As you know, most Bende people have been captured to benefit from NHIS. Some of them are receiving healthcare services from the FMC. Some nominated FMC, some nominated other hospitals who are as service providers. I think they're what they call the GMOs or whatever MOs that they call them, that give these services. They are benefiting. And what is the benefit? I paid for my constituents who came out when we called on them to come out for registration. I paid 90% of the hospital bills. Many people don't know about it because we don't go around blowing our trumpet. What is happening in Anambra has already taken place in Abia. We are going to escalate it to make it bigger. To make it bigger, you know, to make noise about it in Abia in the coming days. But for Bende people have been captured. We still have a certain segment that have not been captured. And then the forms will be, in fact, the forms are in the office, not very soon. If you go to our constituency office, I think we still have about a space for about 200 people or thereabout. You go to our constituency office, they'll give you the NHIS form. You fill it. We don't discriminate against party. Don't tell me you are PDP, you cannot go. Don't tell me you are ABGA, you cannot go. Don't tell me you are APC, it's only meant for you. No. It's for the entire Bende people. Because today they are APC, tomorrow they could be PDP, today they are PDP, tomorrow they go. They are my constituents. And being my constituent, there is no discrimination along party lines. So you walk into that place, you call the DG of my organization or the lady that is sitting there, they give you the form and they will guide you. Once you fill the form, there are no arrangements in Abuja to capture those who were not captured when they visited. So to answer your question, yes, we've already done it for Bende people, but we hope to do some more.
Okay, I would like to throw the lines open early today so that you can respond to Abians. So we can have enough time to respond. You can have enough time to respond to Abians, especially at the question and answer segment of this program. It is Ben Kalu's mandate, of course, weekly engagement of Representative Benjamin Okezie Kalu with the good people of Abia State, especially the Federal Constituency. And we've been speaking with the spokesperson of the House of Representatives, an astute lawyer, a businessman par excellence, and also the chairman of the House Committee on Media and Public Affairs. 0808-182-6949 or 0811-605-2949. Also drop messages on 0906-510-8289. Glad to have you join us at this hour. What's your name? Yes, what's your name and your contribution, please?
Yeah, good morning, Mike. Reverend Moses from Imo State. Good morning. Are you hearing me?
Go on, Reverend Moses.
Okay. Last week I asked 2 questions, and Honorable answered one. I said today he will answer the other. That second question is, what is the federal government and those we elected doing there in the federal government, and to make sure that the rising inflation that is in our country, pharmacies are dying. What are they doing? Why are they keeping quiet? Making sure that 50% of our families and the pharmacies are. What is the federal government doing to control the rising inflation in the country? Thank you.
Right, Reverend Moses asking question on the rising inflation in the country. Yes, glad to have you join us. What's your name?
Good morning, Mike.
You're welcome.
Thank you, my brother.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, Mike. Yeah, good morning. How are you, my brother?
I'm all right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I remember Mr. Prince from here, no more natural bro. Honorable, let me use this opportunity to thank you and tell you directly, because I don't know you and you have not known me. Today, you will know me very well. You are one of the... Can you hear me, Mr.
Yes, go on, please, Mr. Princeville.
I said that today, Mr. Kano is one of the lawmakers that I'm giving support. On the case, on the saga facing him in the court, personally to me, I'm seeing that as no case submission, because there is no case in that matter. He has no case, because changing of name has been there constitutionally. Anybody telling us that he has a case in the court is making a very big mistake. And my submission to that case is this: at the end of everything, it's going to come out successfully. That's my thing. God bless our person in the studio.
All right, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Yes, what's your name and where you calling from?
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Honorable Benjamin Carlo.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Yeah, my name is Victor Idoboka, and I'm calling from Amekibe. Yes, you have quite enormous responsibility as the spokesman of the Federal House of Representatives. That's quite a good job. I don't know, you have enumerated quite a lot that you have been doing in your office with regard to decisions taken in the National Assembly. I want to know what you people are doing, because from what you said concerning the creation of more wards, more polling units, which will lead to the creation of...
Oh, Mr. Victor Ndubuka, if you can call back, you didn't finalize your question. Anyways, thank you for your contribution. Glad to have you join us.
Hello.
What's your name?
Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
Ambassador Kenneth Chukwemeka.
All right, Ambassador.
The network did not allow me last week. Just as I said last week, those projects executed by the honorable member should be well monitored. Let's do that to help you to make sure those things are well properly managed. Finally, of course, there is no case to answer. There have been executive chairman, special advisor, and all the rest of them. Finally, up to today, I've never heard from the person who collected my number. You said I should call you direct. So the lady you gave the number is always telling me, I will call you back, I will call you back. I need to speak to you direct as a brother to brother. Thank you and God bless you.
All right, thank you, Ambassador. He's going to respond to that shortly. Yes, glad to have you join us. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I am Aaron. School. I am representing from Ohafia.
Okay, from Ohafia. Welcome.
Yes. My essence of calling is to upload.
Can you change your location so that you can have a smooth connection? Thank you.
Okay, I said I'm calling to applaud the Honorable Benjamin Kalu'S for his wonderful activities. Because he's kind, he's not high, power of his time, entertaining our own activities that is so efficient. He's doing what he does. and I want to win full success. So my first case.
All right. Thank you for your contribution. Yes, what's your name and where you calling from?
Hello, Mike.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm Chima, calling from Uzakole, Elder Chima.
All right.
Thank you. I just heard about this NHIS. I have not heard about it before, and I'm so much interested. I'm a federal government. I mean, I worked with the federal government, and I retired. I benefited when I was in service. Immediately I retired. The whole thing stopped, and we've been suffering. How could retirees be paying for their health services? Now, I was benefiting from what do you call it, FMCMY. Now I can no more except I pay my money. This is a retiree, and sometimes for 1 year plus, federal government will not pay you. Therefore, he mentioned about picking forms. I would like clarifications, and I'm interested. Where can I go and pick the form? He said he still has about 200 chances. Please, I want to be one.
All right, Honorable Chima, from Uzakole, right?
Continue. From Uzakole,
all right.
Village.
All right.
You know very well, and I know you have to along those roads.
All right, thank you for your contribution. Let's run the messages so that you can respond to your questions. Kanu Zomba from Izikwato is saying, Honorable Ben, please, what efforts are you making to reconcile the crisis rocking your party in Abia State? This one says, from Ben, Honorable Sir, I still believe that making a law which prohibits governors not to owe workers retirees beyond 3 months will reduce the quantum of corruption by governors. A situation whereby workers and retirees become beggars and destitute should be of concern to everyone. That's coming from Ben. So those are the messages and calls we can take because of our time, so that he can respond to your contributions this hour on Ben Kalu'S mandate. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ike, and most of the callers who called in. I'm so touched, and I want to start with Elder Chuma from Uzakole. In fact, it's for people like you that we came to represent Bende. For someone to work and retire, you get your payment late, sometimes you don't, and you are faced with challenges based on your age. You need to be well taken care of. This is why we are in government, to make sure we bridge this gap. And I want to assure you publicly now that you should go to my office. If you go there today, they will capture you. If they are out of the office today, check them tomorrow. And the person that is running that office is from Uzakole. The lady is from Uzakole.
Okay, I think you should give the location of the office so that Honorable Chima can.
Yeah, it is at Uzakole Bende, and Uzakole Zitem Road. You will see it there after the junction, before the hotel. My office is there, and it's an one-story building. It's the constituency office. Pick up the form and fill it. Will capture you, and make sure that from FMC you will continue receiving your treatment, and we are paying 90% of the treatment, while we pay 10%. Yeah. Let me go to rising inflation. A caller, I think it was Reverend Moses.
Yes, Reverend Moses from
Imo State.
Yes.
What are we doing about it? You see, rising inflation was, as a result of so many factors, and the COVID didn't help it at all. You knew the oil price went down; it's only picking up now, and with other challenges. It will take a while for the shock that COVID brought into place in the economy of the world, not just Nigeria. That gap created by COVID impact, it will take a while for us to be able to bounce back. let's be patient. All we do from the side of the parliament is to make sure we lay the legal framework for good policies of government that will help achieve these economic expectations faster. Prince will discuss about the case in court. I think I don't want to mention anything about that. Like I said before, it's sub-judicial. And then Mr. Victor Ndoboka mentioned that the job of a spokesman is actually a very hectic job. And I agree with you, sir. It keeps you on your toes. You must read a lot. You must know things ahead of the members because you're defending them. You must know what happens in other committees. So if there's any problem, you have an answer. You attend to about 200 media houses on a weekly basis. It's not an easy job. But we are happy that the job was given to an Abian. And so far, so good. We have brought innovations, and it has changed the dynamics of how things were done before now. And the credit goes to the people for presenting to Nigeria a mouthpiece currently. And also you spoke something about the creation of word. Yes, like I said, from the polling units, we'll be able to get more word. Ambassador, thank you for your piece of advice that we should monitor the project that we are doing well. And I think I'll ask the presenter of this program to give you my direct number. If the person, my media aide is so busy to attend to you, I'm giving the permission to the presenter to give you my direct number. Just send me a text and say, this is Ambassador, and then we can have a chat. I'm not a spirit. I am a representative, and I'm representing everyone in Abia State, not only Bende, and so we can have a chat. Thank you, Mr. Collins from Ohavia, for appreciating the good job we are doing. It's encouraging, and I'm sure it makes us work harder. Mr. Ozomba, your text message, what are we doing to reconcile? Every party, even in PDP, there are issues. Once there is political party and people come together, there will always be one or two things to put together to make sure that we keep moving. It's part of the society. It's part of the human relationship. So we'll find a way. We'll find a way because all of them are members of the party, and we need everyone. Everyone has a role to play for the growth of our party, and I'm part of the solution, not just part of any problem. Me, I want to be more of part of solution than problem. So I'm working hard with some people behind the curtain to make sure we reconcile. Ben, I didn't get what Ben was trying to say about government. So
Ben is asking for a law, that there should be a law that prohibits governors from owing workers and retirees beyond 3 months.
He mentioned that. He mentioned that last time, and I told him that. He mentioned that last week, and I said we have to look at our laws. We have to do deep research. You know that we're not entering into the zone that is not allowed by the provisions of the Constitution. But if we see any gap, definitely we'll do something that will have efficient and effective administration of good governance. Okay. But until then, they are really independent to some extent from what we do from the federal government. We don't make laws for the state government. The House of Assembly does. So I think the state government, the House of Assembly, have every right to make laws.
All right,
around that.
Representative Benjamin Okezekalu, we want to thank you very much for this opportunity, of course, for Abians and especially for your constituents, hearing directly from you. Thank you very much for joining us this week.
Thank you, Michael. And before we round up, I want to use this opportunity to thank those who have been praying, those who have been calling me, and who have showed concern in one form or the other. It really means that you could love Benjamin, and I really don't take your love for granted. Thank you for all your support and your prayers. This is me asking you to pray more. Keep praying for us. That is all we know. That is the ingredient that we need to survive. So we cut for your prayers because we belong to the household of faith. The more you pray for us, the more His grace abounds. God bless all of you, and keep praying for Abia State. In the peace of the state, we shall have peace. God bless you.
All right, thank you very much. Ben Kalu's mandate returns next week, God's willing. My name is Michael Oni.